Lupin. He's
Lupin.
a nice guy.
Lupin.
Look at him smile.
He's so kind.
Yeah. Fucking that song from the old series gets me every time I hear it.
I think what's so wild about these two movies that we're going to be talking about today is they feel so different from each other.
Yeah.
And one, I think, like, Mystery of Mamo is a lot more adult. There's a lot more, like, sex and stuff. And then the other one is pretty much a proto-Ghibli movie, so it's just like, I'm a sweet little guy.
Yeah, no, it definitely, like, I feel like if there's one scene that could sum up how different from typical Lupin it is, in this one, he kisses her on, like, the forehead at the end, and it's like, realistically, like, Lupin would probably be like fucking drooling like an animal and then just be like, all right.
Actually, I don't...
Maybe. It depends. Because obviously there is the caveat that he knew her when she was a little girl. Which
I think Lupin in general has been pretty good about not having weird, creepy stuff with, like, people he knew as a kid. Like, there are other movies I've seen where he acts pretty similarly. Like, he's like, nah, I think of you more like a sister or something. And I think that's refreshing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
He's like, I want to go fuck Fujiko again.
Yeah. Which, yeah, the whole time during that one, I was expecting her to, like, take off a wig. But it never happened. And it's like, a bold choice.
Yeah.
But...
Like, it's one thing... In, like, The Woman Called Fujiko, meaning there are episodes where she just has a different color hair, but that's for, like, an episode. This is just, like, a whole movie. It's like, she just looks like that now.
Yeah, no, it was a strange... Because it's like, I just gotten used to, like, the swap between, like, her being a brunette and a redhead. Because that had taken me a long time to fucking get used to. And then suddenly she's just blonde in this movie, and I'm just like, oh. Because, like, the first time she was on screen, I'm like... I looked over at Matt and I was like, I'm 90% sure that's Fujiko. And then, yeah, she started snooping around. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Fujiko. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about the two first feature-length Lupin the Third movies, I believe. Okay, he is chewing. He's got his finger up for those of you who are listening. And he's got something important to say. Oh, yeah.
Just gonna chew forever, apparently.
I put the spotlight on you and it made it take a little longer.
Psychokinetic.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Technically before this. So, first, animated, yeah.
Yes.
It's wild that they got a live-action movie before anything else. Like, that's just wild to think about.
Yeah, that is weird. But... I guess people really wanted that live-action Lupin. I guess following the first series, it's not, like, the most, like, abnormal thing. Because the first series, compared to, like, part 2 and later, is, like, not quite as, like, cartoon shenanigans.
I'm excited to see the tone of that one when we watch that.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to Screen Weens. We're a podcast where we talk about movies and shows and cheese and crackers, and I eat a chimichanga because I'm fucking starving.
Anyway.
I'm London.
I'm Thomas.
And we're your hosts.
Yes.
Today we're going to be talking about, like Thomas said, the first two anime features, Mystery of Mamo and Castle of Cagliostro, which is also a proto-Ghibli movie. It looks like a Ghibli movie most of the time. Every character besides Lupin and Jigen kind of just look like Ghibli characters, especially the Count. The Count is just a Ghibli character. And it was also Miyazaki's first feature after he directed 2 episodes of Part 2. I almost watched those, I just didn't really have time.
He also directed some stuff for the first part as well.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Yeah, I checked my DVD of it and I saw his name on the director's list. Which makes sense, because when he made the feature length, I think he was like, because I think the Red Jacket era had officially kicked off at that point, because Mystery of Mamo's Red Jacket. So I think he was just like, no, I like the green. But, yeah, it's interesting, because fucking Mystery of Mamo definitely feels like a part 2 movie.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it would have been made like years into part 2's run, but I'm pretty sure it came out shortly before. No, it might have been shortly after part 2 had come out.
Yeah, I think it was right. Because I think part 2 ran from 77 to 80, something like that, 78 to 80. So this was coming 78.
Right? Yeah, so I guess that makes sense.
But like right smack in the middle was when Castle of Cagliostro came out. And
Mm-hmm.
it feels in some ways like part 2, but it kind of just feels like its own thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like a lighter, kind of like, I don't want to say more accessible Lupin. I don't know if that's the term I would use for it, but I feel like a lot of people see it that way just because it's directed by Miyazaki.
Mm.
So I feel like a lot of people probably hop over from the Ghibli train, and it's probably a good first.
I mean, it was my first Lupin movie.
Oh, was it?
And it's nice to like revisit it now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel much differently now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think now that I've returning after falling in love with these characters, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, apparently, I had watched Mystery of Mamo with you guys.
Yeah.
And
didn't like it the first time. Well,
didn't.
You thought it was okay.
Yeah, I looked, and I apparently gave it a 5 out of 10. And I must say, my opinion has changed. So.
Not for the better either.
No, I think it's even worse.
But
yeah.
I guess, have you done anything else this week?
Yeah, I watched a bunch of part 2, some more of that. It's been kind of my background show. That, and I got the set for part 1 that's dubbed with the new dub, so I was like, okay. So I watched most of that too in the background. And yeah, part 1's pretty good. It's a lot flatter than part 2 because it's not quite as zany.
Mm-hmm.
There's still like good episodes sprinkled throughout that I had forgotten about. One that I really like is one where like Lupin like messes up and he gets like shot by a bunch of tranquilizer darts, so he like decides to like stay in prison and try to do a last minute escape. And that one's really good. I really like that one. That's like the 4th episode. But aside from that, I watched 2 other Lupin specials. I watched
Blood Emerald or something like that.
Yeah, Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid.
Which I saw you liked okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I want to be a bigger fan of it because there's a lot of stuff in that movie that I really, really like. But I kind of feel the same way about that movie that I feel about like fucking like X-Men Wolverine, where it's like I think most of the movie is really good, but then there's like this kind of like shoehorned in kind of like superhero plot that's just like I think a tad too much for it. I'm slowly warming up to like more supernatural stuff in Lupin, but
maybe it's just because that's one of the more recent ones I watched, so I've been like in the thick of the movies, so I think maybe I'm just more acclimated to it. So I'm like, yeah. So maybe you'll rewatch it in like 2 years and be like, you know what? But I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I definitely really like it. I wish that they would have like dedicated themselves a little more to like because that's the one where like the little girl starts following him around. She's like, I want you to teach me how to be a thief. You just won't leave him alone.
I really like that plot.
Yeah, I really like that plot too, but then it kind of gets swept under the rug when we find out that she's doing it because she wants to save her sister, and then Lupin's basically like, oh, don't worry about it, I'll do that for you.
Yeah, so I get that.
So yeah, I definitely wish that maybe it had picked Elaine more so, because the stuff from the sister plot I wasn't super crazy about, but the rest of that movie, like the stuff with like Lupin the First and shit like that, like I really liked that element.
Oh, I don't think I talked about this last time, but I was doing some, I was just looking at our distributors at work, and I'm like, what Lupin stuff can we get? And there is a new, it's by Magnetic Press is a distributor. They publish a bunch of stuff, and they are doing something called it's Lupin the First thing, but it's like a story collection, but it has a bunch of illustrations in the style of Lupin the Third in it.
Oh, okay.
It looks sick. I have one that I'm gonna get, and then they're doing because they're doing a 50th like anniversary thing coming out because I think it's 50th anniversary of Lupin Part 1 this year, maybe?
Yeah, because it came out
72?
No, it came out in 71.
Okay. Well, maybe it's just late. But that's coming out later this year. And I'm getting one of that too. And in that Magnetic Press, they have a recent thing called Magnetic, like, Plays or something, where they do, like, tabletop stuff. And they're making a tabletop game for Lupin.
Oh, shit.
There's, like, no info on it, but I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that one.
Lots of cool Lupin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then what was the other Lupin one you watched?
It was Episode 0, First Contact, which they just did a new dub for. So.
Oh, sweet. That's the one. Did you watch that one? I can't remember.
I did watch it with you guys.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the origin story, so you could say. But
I remember thinking that was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I like that one quite a bit. There's definitely a case here and there of, I think they saw, like, movies that had come out, like, the year before, and they were like, because, like, one of the bad guys in the movie is straight up just Neo from The Matrix. And there was something else, I can't remember what it is, but I was like, yeah, that has to be, like, a reference to, like, a movie that came out, like, the year before.
I think that works pretty well in that movie specifically because they're making up, they're just lying. So I think that's funny.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm not. It's not a serious critique. It was just one of those things where it's like, I'm pretty sure they're doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that one. Yeah, those. Let's see. My roommate had been just continuously rewatching Stranger Things. Because he watched the 4th season, like, last week. And then he's like, great, I need to rewatch all of it now. So he started rewatching all of it. He really likes it.
I'm just like, I want to like it, but I just feel like it's just...
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. And I guess I can speak. I've seen half the series. But, I'll probably watch it all eventually. But...
I was thinking when I was starting season 4, I'm like, maybe we should start watching Stranger Things for the podcast too. And then I'm like, but then I would have to rewatch season 3 and 4.
Yeah. But he fell asleep during his rewatches of it. So I came out today, and for the second time this week, I caught the end of season 1 and beginning of season 2 again. I'm like, why don't you watch, like, Fear Street or something?
Has he seen Fear Street?
No, he hadn't. So okay. I had woken up from a nap today, and he had been in the middle of the first one, so I watched the back half of that and, like, the first half of the second one. So, yeah. And once he finishes Fear Street, I don't know. He's probably just going to rewatch Stranger Things.
I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but apparently there's a pretty heavy rumor going on that they're going to do a Fear Street like anthology show.
That doesn't surprise me.
The movie's exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I kind of like the format of the movies. Like I would like an anthology, just like movie series. Where it's just like, cool. Here's a, or even like Black Mirror, where they're like kind of 2 hour and a half. Like, you know, you can pick and choose. That's what I like. Like streaming services, I think need to take. Stranger Things has been doing it. They're like, yeah, we'll just make every fucking episode's an hour and a half. I'm like, I don't need that for shows. Maybe if you do like a Black Mirror format, where it's like, yeah, these are mini movies, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. That'd be too easy.
Yeah. Cool. I did a couple things this week. It's me and Hinatea's anniversary weekend, so we've been very busy. It's our anniversary tomorrow, 7 years. Yeehaw. But we did a couple things. I think last week I watched Insidious, I think after you left. I forgot how goofy that movie was. Yes. It's pretty goofy. Which makes sense for James Wan. I think a lot of his horror is pretty goofy. I don't think it's as scary as some of his Conjuring stuff is, because I think the first 2 are pretty, like, atmospheric. I think they're well done enough. And Thomas is like, fuck you.
I didn't say that.
But I think Insidious doesn't really have any, like, it has its moments, but I don't think the atmosphere is really there. Yeah. And I also don't think it's goofy enough for something like Malignant, which I think is so much fun. I still enjoyed it. I really like the main characters' like relationship with each other. I think that's fun. I'll probably watch Insidious 2. Just to like, because the first two have like an overarching story, and then they start just kind of jumping around.
I stopped after the second one because I've
heard 3's ass, and I've heard 4's even worse. 5's apparently in development, and Patrick Wilson is supposed to direct it. So.
I thought 5 already existed. I thought 5 was that last key one.
No, that's 4.
Oh, okay. I remember liking the first one, but I think the plot was like.
I think the ending of the number one's really bad, which is the tie-in to number 2. So I have a feeling I'll hate the 2, but that's fine.
Yeah. Have you seen 2 before?
I've seen the first 2, like when they first came out, but rewatching Insidious, I'm like, I don't fucking remember any of this. So.
I remember the first one decently well. The second one, I remember bits and pieces of, but I just remember thinking like, oh my god, that was fucking dog shit. So
cool. Exciting. I watched the new Adam Sandler movie Hustle, which I'd heard is really good. I think I may have liked it if I was into basketball or sports. I think some sports movies are pretty accessible for just people watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think Hustle's super accessible for people watching it. It was fine. I think Adam Sandler's really good in that movie because I think most dramatic roles he does, he's really good at them. And it has its moments and it's watchable. It just wasn't, like, great.
Yeah.
But here's a movie that I didn't think was going to be great, but I really enjoyed. We watched Lightyear.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was great.
That movie's causing a storm online.
I'm just like, it's not making a lot of money. So people are like, it's because of the gays. And
I've heard 2 things: because of the gays and because it doesn't have Tim Allen.
And I'm like, I don't.
And it's like, I don't.
People are like, oh, it's too confusing because it's. And I'm like, I don't think it's that confusing of an idea.
It's a fucking kids movie. Watch it for 5 minutes, and I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Literally, the opening thing is just like, this is the movie Andy watched. That's it. I'm like, okay, that's good enough reasoning for me. I thought it was pretty good. It has a lot of fun space stuff. I like fun little space adventures. I had a lot of fun with it. Hina Teo really liked it. Pierre really liked it. Like, everyone I watched it with was just like, wow, that was much better than we anticipated.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends, like, on Letterboxd and just in general, aren't super hot on it. So I'm like, maybe it just clicked with me. It was fine. I thought it was really, really gorgeous, too. Like, I think Pixar in general looks pretty good most of the time. But this one I felt like had a really good, like, visual voice to it. Like, every shot felt really, really clean and, like, nicely framed. And then I watched Belle, which came out last year. It's by Mamoru Hosoda. Who is a director that I keep fucking trying to like. He did that One Piece movie.
Oh, yeah.
That guy. He did like
Boy and the Beast, right?
He did Boy and the Beast, and he did The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which are 2 that I really wanted to like, and I fucking hated.
I don't mind his One Piece movie, aside from the fact that I feel like it kind of like... Some of the Straw Hats act pretty out of character in it, but aside from that, I think it's pretty good.
I really like that movie. And I'm like, maybe it's just because he didn't write it. Because Belle, just another movie. I think it's good to look at. And it's more like a musical. And I think the music's really good in it. And I think it's just fucking shit other than that. I'm like, I have so many friends that are like, I love these movies. I'm like, why won't it click? I don't get it. Because, I want to like things. I would rather like something than hate on it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to hate on things.
It is.
But I want to be in the cool kids club. So it's just like, okay, I got like 3 more movies I can watch from him. I'm going to watch Wolf Children soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I've heard.
And hopefully that's the one that clicks. And if not, fine. No,
at that point, I'm sure you'd probably just finish them off.
Yeah, I'm like, well, now I only have 2 more.
Yeah. Fucking, I've heard pretty good things about Wolf Children.
Yeah. But that's the issue. I've heard pretty good things about all these movies.
That is true. Yeah, that's kind of the gamble with, like, I guess anime in general, but like anime movies specifically, because I feel like a lot of people doubt a lot of them as good, and it's sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't. Like, I remember like when fucking like Your Name and shit was coming out, everyone was like on Earth was like, yeah, that movie was great, and I was like, I don't know about that. And then I watched it, and I was like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, like in general, I like Makoto Shinkai movies. Well, from the couple I've seen, yeah, I guess I like 2 of them. I haven't seen like 5 centimeters.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
You saw The Garden of Words.
I like that one.
I did not like that one. Or I thought it was okay. So, I'm a little more critical on him, but, I really like Weathering with You. Not a lot of people like that one.
I still haven't seen that one.
And it's like, Masaki Yuasa, I really like all of his movies, so... there are anime directors that I do get. I'm like, yes, I get it. I'm down.
Miyazaki? All of it. In the trash.
Miyazaki, in general, I like most of his movies. I think Princess Mononoke is my favorite animated movie still. No. Like, I fucking love that.
That was definitely a satirical comment.
But a lot of, like, Hinatea's not super hot on Ghibli. Like, she just doesn't.
I can see why.
Which I get it.
I'd say, like, I only really like a handful of their movies. I think a lot of them just kind of fall into the middle for me.
Yeah. You're only really like, what? From Up on Poppy Hill.
That's the best one.
That's the one. That's actually the only one you've seen.
No, I've seen Ghibli. Fucking
Ponyo. I think Ponyo's pretty good.
Ponyo's pretty decent. Probably like my favorites, like
the pig one. What's
Porco Rosso?
Yeah, that one's pretty.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I like Princess Mononoke. Howl's Moving Castle's not bad. I know you disagree.
My hot take. I also don't like. I know it's technically not Ghibli, but Nausicaa. It's like the same team.
I didn't really care for Nausicaa.
Maybe and I think it's mostly because I'd seen Princess Mononoke so many times before, and it just Nausicaa seems like the blueprint for that, but not as good.
It's also an adaptation of his manga, so it's like
I've heard the manga's much better.
Yeah, I could see it have been stripped down a lot for a theatrical runtime, but let's see. I like. This is a Takahata one, but I like fucking Grave of the Fireflies.
That one's so good.
Yeah, that one's really good. But yeah, I like me some Ghibli here and there. I still haven't seen Spirited Away, which is like the big one that everyone says.
That one I was less hot on, and then I rewatched it. I'm like, okay, it's pretty good. I still don't think it's like the best Ghibli movie or anything, but.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it one of these days.
But most of the time when I go to a Ghibli, I'm like, I haven't seen most of them. I've only seen like 2 of them, but I'm more drawn to being like, maybe I should watch a Takahata movie. His movies just seem more, I guess he has a bigger range of types of movies, especially like stylization wise. Mm-hmm. Like, when you think of Ghibli, you think of, oh yeah, all these faces look the same, but then you look at like Tale of Princess Kaguya, that's much different. Like Only Yesterday looks like a Ghibli movie, but also like My Neighbors the Yamadas. I want to watch that one.
Is that the one with like the little?
That is Secret World of Arrietty.
Okay.
With the little lady, which is directed by neither one of them.
No, I want to say. Oh. Isn't there like a Ghibli? There might be like Rats or something where it's like.
Oh, Pompoko.
Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Where it's like a bunch of like.
I think they're raccoons. Yeah.
Raccoons. Yeah.
There's one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. But it looks fun. I want to watch. That seems like, oh yeah, we're raccoons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But. Yes.
And then otherwise, been adventuring. And we watched a bunch of Star Wars Rebels yesterday because we've been trying to finish that up because we hadn't watched them for a while. But we finished season 3. It's so fucking good. And season 4, we're almost halfway through. And I think season 3 and season 4 just banger after banger. I fucking love those. Mm-hmm. I love Rebels in general. Like, I'm a big fan.
I still haven't gotten to it yet.
That's fair. I get it. And then Obi-Wan's almost done. It has one more episode. man, that series is... It's like... I think that some of the characterization in that series and some of the acting is just some of the best I've seen in Star Wars. I fucking love it. But I think most of the direction is bad. And I think most of the cinematography is bad. Which is really disappointing because if I remember correctly, let's double check for a second.
Oh.
Let's look. The cinematographer is... Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Hello? It's Jong Jong-hoon, who did Old Boy, Handmaiden, Stoker, Thirst, It. Like most of his movies he's done, he's worked a lot with Park Chan-wook, and they look incredible. And it's just like, cool. I guess you need just a good director with you. And I get it,
It also could have been like Disney's end as well.
Yeah.
They might have been forcing them to make some decisions.
It's just like, there's so much handy cam in it. Like, so much. And I'm just like, and I don't mind the idea of like shaky cam or handy cam, but most of the scenes it doesn't fit well thematically with what's happening. It's not very well shot for action. There's just a lot of weird creative decisions, which is unfortunate because Deborah Chow, who's the director of Obi-Wan Kenobi, she did one of my favorite episodes of Mandalorian. And when that was announced, I was super excited for her. And it's just like, I think, with better staging and better, like, sets, there's a couple sets I think are really bad. I think this could be, like, the best Star Wars thing that we've had in years. But it's just not there. But, I still like it. I've still been liking it. But it's kind of making me a little sad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this could be so fucking good.
I feel that. Fucking, yeah, I should probably get back into the Star Wars grind at some point soon. I was going strong there for a minute, but then I got a little antsy, and I was like, well, I might as well just...
What did you finish? Did you finish?
So, okay. So I had, like, binged through all of the Clone Wars in, like, probably, like, 2 weeks.
And you finished it all, right?
No.
Oh, no.
I made it to, like...
4?
The season that wasn't, like, actually a season, but kind of a season. It's basically the last season before the comeback season.
The, like, lost episodes. Whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So I had made it to that point. And the very last episode I remember watching is the one where like, Yoda meets Qui-Gon again.
Classic.
And then I was basically like, okay, I have to read the Darth Maul like comic series and read Dark Disciples because those take place in between season. I was just going that way. But my original plan was like I was going to go through all the Star Wars content and then go back through the sequels and then finally watch episode 9, which I had been putting off. But then I got my morbid curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to just watch episode 9, and then I just stopped dead after that because I was like, well, this is what it's all building to. Why do I even care?
It makes me. And Hinata, we've been watching Rebels, and she's like, why did they put any of this in episode 9? I'm like, I get so heated. I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, episode 9 is bad.
Bad. And it's just like, it tries so hard to be like super fan servicey, but it's shit I don't care about. It's like, then go full on it. I'm like, yes, cool Lando. Yes, cool Wedge. Where's Hera? Where's Ahsoka?
I don't even care about that stuff. I just think like, even like with the shit that was established in The Last Jedi, where it's like...
It's just like, let's immediately retcon it.
Yeah. Fucking... And it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Kylo Ren should have been the villain. That's what I think it was building up to. Mm-hmm. And it's like, nah, somehow Emperor Palpatine is back. Not even fully explain it. You gotta read the novel for that one.
Like, I think episode 8's building up to a really interesting, like, fight with, like, internal fight with Kylo and Ben, like, trying to return the light side. And I think that would have been a great, as much as like, oh, it would just be like coming back to episode 6, I think it could explore that character really, really well. And I think him returning at the end, like back to good, would be amazing. But he's just like, he like fights Rey a couple of times in episode 9 and then just fucking doesn't do shit.
Yeah, he's an ass.
And then dies. Yeah, I guess spoilers for a 3-year-old movie. I'm sorry, but don't fuck. It's just.
Yeah, no, like episode 9 was just like.
And it made me like lose so much like steam on how much I love Star Wars. And I still love Star Wars, but it just took like so much to bring me back to it.
Yeah.
And I do think that there has been incredible Star Wars content since. And like I think Mandalorian's pretty great. And I think Book of Boba Fett is so much fun outside of like, I just think it's like really weirdly structured, which when you watch it, you'll understand why. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's just like, but I'm still excited for like future of Star Wars, because I think it is a rich environment. It's just, I just kind of miss George Lucas sometimes.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, George Lucas is like one of those directors that even if I wasn't a big fan of like all the movies he made, he's one of those guys that like, it's like, yeah, this fucking is a George Lucas movie. Like this feels like, it feels great to sit there and watch. Like it's kind of how I feel about, here's a director that I'm not as hot on. Like M. Night Shyamalan, I think has made some great movies and some absolute shit movies. But I'm always excited to watch a Shyamalan movie because it feels like a Shyamalan movie.
The way I feel about George Lucas, I'd say is very similar to how I feel about Stephen King, where I think they're both technically geniuses, but I think like both their shticks is like throwing so much shit at the wall, and some of it doesn't stick. I think that they work best with a filter, but I think that you can still get a rich, fun experience just by going into the pure, unedited.
I was listening to a video today while I was driving home. I was just listening to it, and it was like ranking all the Stephen King books, and it was just in my recommended. I'm like, I guess I'll watch this. And he says so much out of pocket shit in that. Like he's just like, yeah, this one's kind of weird. I think he might have just been on a lot of meds. What the fuck? I'm like, probably, but he says stuff like that all the time. Like, this was too weird. Stephen King's a weird. But it was also funny because he was ranking all 61 like regular books that weren't like short story collections. And once it gets to like 55, so like 6 in, he's like, this one's really good. And it just says that for the next 50. He like loves, he's read all 61, so of course he loves Stephen King. But I was like, Jesus, dude.
So like, why don't you, I don't know, give a sentence or two?
Yeah, well, he would say something after that, but pretty much all, it's just funny that like 55 of them, he's like, yeah, this is great. This is really good. Jesus. But yeah. Star Wars. And I'm almost done. I had to stop reading Witcher a little bit just because I'm busy, but I have like, I'm on the final like story of it. I have like 40 pages left. I'm pretty close. Yeah. How are you reading?
I have the audiobooks that I'm going to listen to this week at work, and we'll see how that goes.
Cool. I think we're planning on recording probably this week or next, so.
It's just the two of us?
I'll talk to Joe. He said he'd be ready.
Okay.
But then he started reading One Piece again.
Oh.
I'm like, what the I'm glad you're reading One Piece. What the fuck? That's just mostly funny. Yeah. All right. I guess that was a lot of stuff talking about. Also, Ezra Miller's the worst. They're the worst.
Yes, I saw that, and then I saw a lot of fucking extra shit that was just like, cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, don't want to talk about that, though. Anyway, let's talk about... Oh, wait. I think we have questions from Pierre today. Oh. He said something about it, like, the other day, so...
Are they all Lupin questions?
What do you do when you can sleep?
I sleep.
Me too! Well, actually, I can sleep, I guess, whenever I want. When I get tired, I go to bed.
Yeah.
Question 2. What is your opinion on beans on toast?
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but it doesn't sound that offensive.
Yeah. He was talking about, he's like, oh, it sounds disgusting. Like, it just sounds like beans on toast. It just sounds like the taste of toast and the taste of beans.
I mean, some people eat, like, biscuits and beans.
I'm like, the beans and toast seems fine. I don't really want to make it. I would rather just have beans or toast, but I don't. If somebody gave me beans and toast, I'd eat it.
Yeah.
3. Quick, you're in a train about to crash into David Lynch's car. You can jump out, but David's life is forfeit, or you can stop the train and everyone lives.
Oh, gee, I wonder what option I would pick there.
So would you save David Lynch or kill him?
So the question is, I
Would
can
you
either
kill-
just kill David Lynch or save everybody, including David Lynch.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to just jump out of the train. I can't let Eraserhead 2 ever happen.
Good, because if you chose the second one, it says, if you chose the latter option, I'm surprised. For someone who likes revolution, you sure do support the status quo. Of saving David Lynch's life, I guess?
I feel like most people probably wouldn't.
Wouldn't say, they would just kill a man.
Most people are just like, I don't know who David Lynch is.
So they just let him die? Instead of just, no one dies in the second scenario. Not you!
I'm not saying me specifically, but I mean, how many people in this country do things that benefit other people?
You're right.
Why should I stop the train? What do I get out of it?
You're right. You're right. That would exert my arm.
Yeah. You're going to give me some of that movie money he makes when I save him?
Thanks for the great questions here.
Yeah.
All right. Let us talk about Lupin the Third. The Mystery of Mamo. I really like this movie.
Yeah, I didn't like this one when I first saw it, but I think it helps that my exposure to Lupin, particularly Part 2, has expanded, because now there are things that I like watched where I'm like, I love an episode that like maybe dives a little deeper into this concept, and I feel like this is like that.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like the Water 7 of Lupin, where it's like all the kind of like threads that could develop into like inner character conflict within the group finally kind of comes to a head a bit.
Because it has, Fujiko's being the worst again. We should just, why do you fucking let her do this? Jigen and Goemon are like, no, we're leaving.
Yeah.
They get into a fight. They're like, we're going to fight each other. And Lupa's like, no.
Yeah.
And then Fujiko, is constantly, battling with Lupin, but also legitimately is in love with him. There's a lot of just really great, I think, romantic, ideas in this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Zenigata is great in both these movies, too.
Oh, yeah, and I love that he was voiced by my Zenigata in this one, because all week I've been acclimating to the guy who normally does his voice, because I had just discovered this, and I thought it had been this guy dubbing Zenigata for the most part, but it turns out no. But when I saw that he was dubbing him in this movie, I was like, oh, yes. This is my Zenigata. Fucking... But yeah, this movie's real good. So I guess the basic plot is that Lupin steals the Philosopher's Stone for Fujiko because she's been involved with this little blue guy named Mamo, who has promised her the secret to immortality. And also Lupin had been killed a year earlier. They had caught him and fucking hanged him by the neck until he was dead, and then they did a DNA verification, and they were like, oh, yep, that's 100% Lupin. So Lupin's just who's still alive, is just what?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he basically gives Fujiko, he's like, oh, yeah, I got the Philosopher's Stone for you. I could at least get a little, gratitude or human decency. And she's like, you're right. And then gives him, a paralysis drug and then steals the stone from him. But of course, Lupin's not that dumb, so he like plants a fake Philosopher's Stone that's actually a bug. And then he overhears Mamo's like plan. He's like, oh, so that's what you're doing. And basically like Mamo's like, oh, okay. And then just like goes at him like full force. Probably like my favorite chase sequence out of what I've seen of Lupin thus far happens in this movie, where they're on the fucking like mountainside and that big semi-truck's like chasing them. I love
and
that.
then he goes like, look, we got backup. And he just starts running over all the police cars.
Yeah. And then like, it's like a part where like the rail like gets fucked up. So they just like start driving on the rail like it's a roller coaster. I like it. It was a lot of fun.
There's a lot of really fun car chases in this one. And I really like the car stuff in the next one as well. Also, before we get too far in, I think I know I think there have been 4 different dubs for this movie made. Yes. I watched a different dub because the first time I watched it, I'm pretty sure I watched the Michelle Ruff, the Tony Oliver, the Dan Lorge one. So I kind of wanted to try a different one. And I don't know who did the voice of this one, but I really liked most of the voice cast. It was different, but it was...
Yeah.
It might have been Bob Bergen. I think he's done Lupin a couple of times. So
yeah, I watched primarily the standard cast one, but there were scenes where I was like, I wonder what this dub did for this one. So I like would rewind and just swap the audio real quick.
I know what the classic guys sound like. But these guys were the ones before that dub or something. So I'm like, yeah, I'll give this a shot.
Yeah, I watched the next one with a different dub, but that was mostly...
Is it the original dub then, I think? I'm pretty sure this was dubbed.
No, I'm pretty sure I watched the second dub for it, because there was like one that was like really old sounding that I didn't listen to, and then I like watched like one of the middle ones.
The worst thing about the Mystery of Mamo dub I watched in this one was Jigen's voice. He's like, hey man, how you doing? And I was like, I don't like this.
I think that may have been the same cast for the one that I watched fucking Castle of Cagliostro, because fucking what's it called? I thought Jigen in that one sounded like James Woods, and I was like, this is odd. Jigen always seems to be the one that I have the most hard time warming up to whoever voices him if it's not Richard Epcar.
Yeah, because I think Richard Epcar, like, it's so good. I'm not like... I guess it's not that I'm hostile towards it, but whenever anyone voices Fujiko besides Michelle Ruff, I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I have my bias. I prefer the Tony Oliver dub, and if it exists, I'll probably watch that dub. Because I really like that cast all across the board. But I'm open-minded. If a different dub exists, then I'll probably check it out at least once.
I doubt this is how they record this, but it has the same like energy that it feels like they're all standing in the room together. Like they're all like playing off each other. Mm-hmm. Like how they record, like that's how they record like Bob's Burgers. They're just all like in the same room.
Yeah, that's how at least the Japanese dub of One Piece does.
Okay. And I really like that when dubs do that, because you can feel the energy. And I don't know if that's the case for Lupin, but it at the very least feels like, they're playing off each other really well.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. But, so basically, Fujiko is trying to get this Philosopher's Stone to this little blue guy named Mamo, because he's promised her immortality, but not just her, also Lupin. So basically, the guy eventually offers Lupin immortality, and Lupin's like, no, that doesn't sound good. And he's like, oh, well, you failed the test. So then, and probably like my favorite joke of the movie, Fujiko's like, oh, give me 5 minutes, I'll get him to agree to immortality. And then they have like a little tickle fight in an elevator, and they like come up, right? And Mamo's just watching. And Lupin's like, oh, you like to watch, eh? it's super funny. But basically Mamo's like, all right, maybe neither of you are fit for immortality. And the plot on this one's a little more convoluted. Basically, like, Zenigata chases him into this Mamo location, and so do he breaks up with Jigen and Goemon earlier in the movie, but then ultimately
they're like, know what? that lovable scamp. We gotta go back.
Well, I mean, it's basically two sides of the same coin. They feel the same. They do the same kind of stupid shit for Lupin that he does for Fujiko. It's just a big love triangle. Because rewatching some of those part 1 episodes, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot how gay Jigen was for Lupin. Because
they're like, Jigen's like actually has this like infatuation with Lupin. It's kind of great. I love it.
Yeah, he's like, why do you always have to go after that woman, Fujiko? And there's like an episode in the old Lupin where he fakes his death for a minute. And, like, Jigen without a fucking beat is just, like, crying. He's just like, oh my god. And then, like, Lupin steps behind a fish tank. He's like, I just wanted to see what the reaction would be if I disappeared. And Jigen's like, I fucking hate you. Oh my god. But, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. But, yeah, so they end up, like, coming and helping out, save the day. And... yeah, it turns out Fujiko denies immortality if Lupin can't have it, which is like, oh, super sweet. That's her kind of, in her own way, saying she loves Lupin. So it all kind of comes full circle, and then Jigen shoots Mamo in the head, but it turns out Mamo is just a series of, well, he's a big brain that has chips installed into his clones, and basically controls clones like that. And that's how he's been doing it. So, yeah. They have to beat the big brain. And I don't remember what happens. I think they just blow it up, right?
Yeah, it's like launching into space because it's going to blow up the world. But Lupin like disables the rockets or something and then throws a bomb on the... Yeah, they blow up each other or something. But that didn't stop all the world's governments from launching rockets at Mamo's location. Mamo's going into space, but... Lupin put like a time bomb on him, and it just explodes, and the last we see is the brain just floating towards the sun.
Yeah.
So it's weird because like Castle of Cagliostro feels like it, for the most part, just like a long Lupin episode in like a good way. While this feels like, this is a movie.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they wanted to raise the stakes of the typical Lupin episode with the whole, like, nuclear arms thing and technically saving the world. Which, it doesn't seem out of fashion for Lupin.
Yeah.
It seems like the kind of thing he'd do. But, I like this one quite a bit.
I really like Mamo as a villain. I like his little weird character design that reminds us of Paul Williams from Phantom of the Paradise. Like, even like, he's short and he's kind of a weird little gremlin man, but also like even the like style of his clothes, even the way like the cadence of his dubs, like most of his dubs all sound pretty similar. And even the way he talks, like he wants immortality, it's the same kind of stuff. And he's become rich because he's immortal, pretty much. It's, it's like, they've probably seen Phantom of the Paradise.
I think Phantom of the Paradise, it's not like a super big movie over here even, but I think it may have, like, made some circles in Japan a little bit, because I'm pretty sure, this is speculation, I don't think this has ever been confirmed, but I know a lot of people source it for being the inspiration for, like, Femto's design in Berserk. Because he wears like the hawk helmet in the movie, so it's like, oh yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if it had like a decent sized run at Japan that just some creative saw and we're like, yeah.
A lot of the Japan like underground cinema, I'm sure picked up that because there was a decent chunk of underground stuff going on in the 70s and the 60s. So
it's like the
and I'm sure animators working around that time. I feel like Lupin people, I feel like the people that work on Lupin are also probably people that are really into, like, avant-garde stuff. I don't know what it is, I feel that same way about most Scooby-Doo things. I'm like, these people are probably weirdos.
Yeah, no, that definitely seems to be the case. I mean, there's, like, a Twin Peaks, like, Scooby-Doo episode, so it's like, yeah, these people are fucking strange. But, yeah, no, I really like this one. I think it helped a lot, kind of like being more familiar with the status quo, especially of like part 2, because that definitely amplified the movie for me.
Yeah, like I think Castle of Cagliostro is a good first watch if you have not seen any Lupin.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this one, if you've seen like the part 2, you've seen a decent chunk of it up until this came out. I think this works really well.
Yeah.
And there are some parts that I just adore. I love the like scene where he gets they're reading his mind. And it's just breasts everywhere. And then Zenigata jumping around, just going, Lupin! Yeah. And then him eating candy. And he's like, do you see? I have to destroy him. There's nothing else in his subconscious.
He dives deep into his subconscious. He's like, he either has the mental fortitude of a complete idiot or a god. And it's just
and he's constantly talking about, like, I'm a god now. Lupin's just like, no, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then, there's some fun. Him and Zenigata have to run away together at the end. I love the final scene of this movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah, Zenigata gets real jealous when him and Fujiko are about to kiss. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Stop.
I think this movie has so many fun little moments, but I think it also gets to the point where I might get a little overexerted from how often there's like a chase scene or like I feel like there might be a little too much sometimes.
Yeah,
to the point that some of it just starts blending together.
The beginning of like the third act, it feels like there's like an extra kind of loop that they run around where it's like, I don't know if I needed that.
Yeah. So I think some of like the structuring of the movie could use some work. But I really, really like this movie. I also really like the pyramid stuff at the beginning of the movie when he first gets the gemstone.
Oh, yeah.
And he's being chased by Jigen. Mm-hmm. And they start riding the motorcycle on the rope, and Zenigata just running after him. I love the animation in this movie. Yeah. It might not be as like beautiful as something like Cagliostro, but it's so goofy.
Yeah, it's got like the simple charm of part 2, but it's like a lot cleaner.
Mm-hmm. Also, there are some really, really cool moments. Like I love the what they do with that one guy who's fighting Goemon, and then it shows Goemon and splits the camera because Goemon just cut that guy's head in like 3 parts, and it just goes poof.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I had remembered that scene specifically because I'm like, that was so cool, especially for like a 70s thing. I'm like, that was fun.
Yeah, God, I've been watching like some Lupin AMVs here and there, and I might have a couple specials that I'll have to show you, like clips from the AMVs. Like, hey, what special is this from? Because there's like one in particular where he's like fighting like a bearded guy, and he like kicks off his shoe, and the guy like cuts it, and he's just like behind it with a gun and shoots him. The
shoe? Is it older? Did it look older?
It's not like older, but I'd say probably like 90s, 2000s.
It might be Dragon of Doom.
Okay.
Which is like my second favorite one. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember my review being like, also the shoe attack that Lupin does near the end of this film is my favorite part of any Lupin movie I've seen. I watched this movie 2 years ago, but and that's from 94. Does that sound?
Potentially. It didn't like tell me what that clip was from. It was just like, but I bought fucking Right Stuff was having a fucking discotheque sale, so I bought not all of the remaining Lupin Blu-rays that I needed, but I bought most of them.
Yeah, I need to get some of those.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh, I totally forgot to mention. I went to SummerCon. I went for just one day. I got a bunch of comics, and I bought Timothy Zahn was there, so I got Heir of the Empire, the 35th anniversary version. I had him sign it. So
nice.
All right, just as a quick aside. Yeah, I think Mystery Mamo's really, really good. I think most Lupin movies are really fun to watch, but I think this one's pretty great. And a lot of fun. And I think it's a great like first movie for like Lupin fans, like people that have watched some of the show. Be like, yeah, watch it. It's like, woo!
Yeah. I'd say you probably have to be at least a little familiar with the dynamics before diving into this one, or else you might just be like, yeah, why what the fuck is Lupin doing? Like, but
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, there are some of the stuff he does with Fujiko is like really like when I watched it, I was like, oh, but watching it with the understanding of their dynamic, I do think it's a little better. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, this is actually just how they act together. Yeah, this is not like a sexual assault.
Yeah, there is a scene that looks like Lupin's about to straight up fucking sexually assault her before he just like ends up passing out because she had like drugged him earlier. Because he's like, I actually really like that the execution of that scene because he like dives up in the air and then he just stops and he's like slow and he's just like in the air like
then just falls asleep.
Yeah.
But I think so. When I first watched this movie, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then there is some like context to be had with the characters themselves. Like, I do think it is different.
Yeah.
Well, so like I said, I think this movie does rely on the idea that you have seen Lupin before. Mm-hmm. And with this movie, I hadn't really seen a lot of it, so I'd be like...
Yeah. No, definitely.
Also, I love that his clone at the beginning just fucking explodes when Zenigata stabs it.
Oh, yeah. It's just like... I like how it was purple, too. I was like, what the... And he was wearing like a vampire cloak. I was like...
I'm like, yeah, why? Just because he was buried in Transylvania.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, yeah. I think you would give this movie... an 8? A 7?
Mm. You would give it an 8?
I would. All right, let's talk about Lupin the Third, the Castle Cagliostro. Yeah, so this is Miyazaki's first movie. This is pretty much the first Ghibli movie.
More or less, yeah.
Like, it has a lot of the stylizations.
A rough draft for what he would go for in the future.
And then it's the second Lupin animated movie. And my first Lupin movie I had watched back in like 2019. And I think returning to this movie, I liked it more. I think this movie's also really, really good. I think it's a lot different. It's a lot more like jovial and maybe I would say friendlier. While I think Mamo has like a certain grit to it. It has, has teeth. While this one is like a lot friendlier. Not a ton of people like die in this one. While Mamo, there's like the scene where the helicopter's just gunning people down in the streets.
Yeah.
While this one, it's like, oh, there is the clock tower scene that's kind of brutal.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
But it happens to the villain who they'd been...
Yeah. He just gets smushed between two clock tower hands. Mm. But it, like, zooms away and then you just hear...
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think this movie is a lot friendlier, and I really like the characterization of Lupin in this one. Mm. I like the way he treats both Fujiko and this new, like, love interest, you think, but then he, like, it's like, she's in love with him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, nah, you're like a sister to me. Yeah. Because, he had been here 10 years before. And he looked the exact same. Yeah. I think he should have had a red jacket in this one and then just cut back to 10 years later and he had the green jacket then.
Yeah, that would have been nice. In the series part 2, I was watching an episode where he also was like, yeah, back in my heyday, I came here and like, I want to say he's like wearing like the most, might have been episode 0 actually. It was one of the Lupin things I watched, but I want to say he was like wearing like a fucking like leather, like kind of like almost Thriller jacket, but he had like the kind of like hair. It was strange. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was. I watched a lot of Lupin this week, so it's all kind of bleeding together.
But I kind of like it when it does that, because I'm just like, man, that was a good week.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I was watching Lupin.
Yeah, no, fucking... Yeah, I do like watching Lupin, so...
Hinata has been getting more invested in Lupin, because when I first tried it to get her into it, she just did not like it. But she really liked the CG one. Did you ever watch that? I can't remember.
Okay. Not yet. I own it, but I haven't watched it. I'm probably going to watch that this week. Because my roommate Matt has also expressed
Oh yeah, did he watch these two with you, or?
He watched Castle of Cagliostro. He didn't watch Mr.
Did he like Castle of Cagliostro?
He thought it was alright.
Oh, he's a hater. It's no Stranger Things.
He's seen a handful of like part 2 episodes with me because I'll put on some random episodes sometimes while I'm out there. So he's a little familiar with Lupin. I think he's slowly warming up. But yeah. Oh, also I forgot to mention this. We're like part way through Thriller Bark.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're making our way through One Piece.
You're chugging along.
Yeah, once we get to the time skip, we're going to take a break, and we're going to watch the portion of what we read, at the very least, of Bleach.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I think, I think there are parts of Bleach that are just some of my favorite things in, like, all of, like, anime. And it's just, like, I am very excited for Bleach to return. I think I'm going to read it right before it comes out.
Yeah, I'll probably rewatch or watch the stuff that we had read, and then I'll probably like pick up where the manga.
Yeah, I think I haven't read Bleach. I've read the part we read, and then I've watched the rest. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to decide if I want to just read after that point or if I want to go back and read it. I don't know, because I know I could read it all in like a month because I did it with One Piece. I read more than that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Bleach in general is a pretty quick read, pretty fun read, for me at least. Maybe it's just I really like the characters. Anyway, Lupin. I still haven't read my Lupin manga, the Greatest Hits one. I should. Oh, yeah. Greatest Heists.
I've been meaning to pick that up. I wish that we could get like a cohesive, just straight, like volume-to-volume release.
Yeah,
we got one in like the early 2000s at Tokyo Pop, but that manga studio was really, they weren't the best at translating stuff. B, they eventually went under.
I'm surprised at Magnetic Press now that they have the stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if like next year they start doing stuff after the 50.
Maybe, because this is done by Seven Seas, I think is.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're doing it now.
Which the thing I like about Seven Seas is they have like a monthly letter where you can like request series that haven't been licensed over here, and I think. I did myself, but I'm sure a bunch of other people also did. But I was like always putting the Lupin in there. I'm like, give us Lupin. I want the Lupin manga. And I think they released that as like a demo, being like, let's see how this sells.
I just love Lupin. Yeah. But Castle Cagliostro is pretty simple because it is just, they want it to be pretty accessible.
Like incest, rings.
Yeah, like a family was split apart hundreds of years ago, and they are trying to. The Count of Monte Cristo, Cagliostro, he wants to reunite the families through force so that he can get the treasure. Mm-hmm. So he's, keeping this 19-year-old hostage, and Lupin comes to save the day.
Yep, pretty much he sees her because, like, basically their car breaks down, and he sees like a bride just driving away from this fucking car that's just full of guys in fedoras and black suits, and he's just like, oh. And just immediately chases.
And Jiga's just like, well, who do we help? And he's like, the girl, obviously.
Yeah, he's like, of course.
Was this the dub? Did you watch the dub where Jigen keeps calling Lupin boss? He's like, hey, boss, what are we doing now?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I really don't like it when he calls him that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel in line with his character.
Yeah, especially because a lot of the actions he does in this, like he's like, "Oh, you're my best friend." Like he like acts like they're best friends. Also, I watched the dub where I don't know if you watched, but Lupin's constantly referred to as Wolf, which I'm just like, they always call him Wolf, and I'm like, what is that from? Why are they calling him that? What? I'm gonna actually check because I'm like,
I think they might have called him Wolf in one scene. I vaguely remember it, but it wouldn't have been a constant thing. Wolf. Lupin.
Oh, okay. Literally, they just didn't have the rights to the name Lupin for a while, so they couldn't call him Lupin.
Yeah.
So it was called Lupin the Third, or actually, it might have just been called the Castle Cagliostro over here.
I see.
But so the original dub they had to call... They would either call him Rupon or Wolf.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, then I didn't watch that one. Because he definitely gets referred to as Lupin in it.
Okay, cool. So I think I watched the first of them.
Yeah.
Copyright issues. Monkey Punch did not ask permission to use the Arsene Lupin name.
I figured that it was just public domain. I think he is now. He might not have been when the manga started, since it started in the 60s. Also,
Japan apparently at the time did not enforce trade copyrights. Like, you can just use names.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Apparently in France it was called Edgar Detective Burglar, and his name was Edgar of Burglary.
I love that. That's great. That's fucking stupid. I love Edgar of Burglary.
It's been apparently it didn't. Arsene Lupin didn't enter public domain until 2012. Okay,
yeah, so it must have been the character must have started in 1912 then, because I think it's 100 years.
It's 70 years, because it was in France, so that you go off of copyright laws.
Sense, yeah.
So it was 70 years after his death, the creator's death.
Okay. Well, he's public domain now, so...
Well, I think that's why they're doing that Lupin, the first stuff, and that's why there's the Lupin Netflix show now, probably.
Yeah.
And that seems like it doesn't seem like... I understand Monkey Punch, not, because it doesn't seem like something you would have to do,
Yeah, it'd be doing, a Sherlock the Third, where it's
which Lupin did.
They did do that.
Yeah, so Castle Cagliostro, he goes and he saves the day. I really like the scene when he's chasing after the girl and helping her, because they're doing the thing where they go up the walls. I love it when they do that.
There's a lot of good physical comedy in this one. Jigen's bouncing out of the car a lot of the time when he's trying to get a shot. It's just yep.
This has a lot of those frames that you see in just random Lupin videos, or tattoos or screenshots. A lot of them are from this movie, because this is... If people know anything about Lupin, it's usually that they've seen this movie specifically.
Yeah, a lot of people hopping over from Ghibli.
And I'm just I like this movie, but I'm you gotta watch more Lupin. It's so good.
Yeah, it's if somebody was I've seen Scooby-Doo, and then they've seen Scooby-Doo goes to Hollywood or something. Maybe not.
Oh God.
Maybe not that, but
or Scooby-Doo and the Loch Ness Monster, the 2000s one. I'm dude.
Yeah, it's
or I guess it has to be one of Scooby-Doo and the Zombie Island. That one I think is great, but there's so many really good ones. You gotta watch more Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. No, I think the Loch Ness Monster would be more apt for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably say Zombie Island is
I think that's the best Scooby-Doo.
Mystery of Mamo tier.
That's fair. Oh.
But yeah, basically, saves the girl.
Goemon does show up.
Goemon, and
he's just I'm here. I love Goemon because he's just always doing his own shit. Mm-hmm. He's don't worry, I'm here now. And then he just kills everyone.
Yeah. No, Goemon is probably the strongest. Without a doubt.
Well, there are so many movies where he just cuts planes in half, or a boulder.
Yeah. I was having this conversation with Matt because he was who do you think will win? I was oh, definitely Goemon. Between him and Jigen. Because he was because it's he cuts bullets in half all the time. So
yeah, and
what's Jigen gonna fucking do?
I think Jigen is he can fight. Yeah. He could win fights with almost anyone else. But Goemon, I'm just yeah,
he got a sword that can cut.
He just anything. Destroys everyone.
Yeah,
he solos Marvel.
Good. He'd basically be he's basically the Mihawk of the Lupin world. He could just travel around by himself and be fine.
Which is what he does, just travel around.
Yeah. Until he runs into Lupin. gotta take care of this guy. And he ends up becoming one of his best friends.
Which is funny because I would actually say that I think Lupin, in an actual fight, I think Lupin might be able to win against both of them, but that would be out of like...
outsmarting them.
Yeah.
There's a scene in episode 0 where like both him and Jigen are actively trying to kill Lupin. So like Lupin just like, it's like, all right. And he like sends over like a missile on a chain and like, Goemon cuts it, but then it turns out it was actually a magnet in the middle, so it just sticks his sword to it and then like dumps out a bunch of fake lookalikes. And it's just like, yep, okay. Way to go, Lupin.
But yeah, I just love the dynamic of them all. And I also think Fujiko's so cool because, you know, she has her like sexual appeal that she uses to like outsmart people, but she also is just good with a gun. She's like a good kind of rounded out character of all of them. Plus, she's
balanced.
Yeah. I like her in this movie. I like this idea that this is like a later in the canon of Lupin kind of thing. If you were to like make a timeline, she talks about like, we were in love once a while ago. And
yeah. You know. I like to think that this happens in the 5-year time skip in between part 1 and part 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then yeah.
Yeah. Especially since he's wearing the green jacket.
But yeah, I think I also really, really like Lupin and Zenigata in this one because I really like when they have to like team up together and it's just those two and they're in this castle running around together.
I love the team ups, yeah.
It's so fucking funny later on because, you know, Zenigata is like, look, I have proof that he's printing these things. And they're like, sorry, we're not. They're like, oh, no, he would never do that because they don't want to go to war with this country. So then he's like, Fujiko's being like a reporter. And he's like, quick, follow me. And they're like, he knows he's not following where the Count went. And they're like, yeah, but he knows where he's going. And he runs down there and he goes, oh my God, what is all this? And he's literally like, printing money? Thank God I found this on accident.
Yeah, every currency? What?
Oh, I was just trying to find him, but thank God I went this way.
And yeah, it's like an actual live feed, not where...
And they're like, well, fuck, we're not going to be able to cover this.
Shit, we didn't do the 5-minute delay. Drats.
Yeah, I love their interactions.
Yeah.
I like the weird ghouls, the weird like foot soldiers. They look like weird little goblins. They have they are wearing armor and then like a ninja cloak, and they have weird little pointy things. You know, I like the character design in this one. I do think Lupin fits well, like interacting with Ghibli characters. I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah, he works.
Yeah, in general, I think I still might like Mamo a little more than this. But I do like this one more than I did the first time I watched it. I think this one's also pretty great.
Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. I think it does a pretty good job at like being zany but being like cartoony enough. If I had one major critique outside of like just... I wouldn't even say, like, aside from the critique that it's, like, a softer Lupin, because I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah. I think that there's room for it in the franchise. My major critique would be, like, I wish the side characters got a little more.
Like Walter.
Who?
Walter. Maybe they changed his name in the dub, but that's the gardener. With the dog.
Yeah. I was like, who?
Walter and Carl.
Yeah, the Carl the dog. Carl the dog.
Oh, like Jodo. That's the butler.
Oh, I thought... Not Carl.
Walter's the gardener. He's the one that takes, like, Lupin in when Lupin gets exploded.
I see.
And Lupin's like, I need to eat like Monkey D. Luffy.
Well, yeah, I pointed that out. I was like, I think this is the first time I've seen him do this trope. And then he, like, started turning green because he was going to vomit because he was eating too much. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
It's like, I need to eat.
Fucking, what's it called? What was the name of Cagliostro's little henchman that he kept, like, oh, you keep fucking it up.
That's Jodo. He's also like the butler. Like,
Okay, I see.
The one with like the wispy like mustache and like the green hair. Yeah, that's Jodo.
Okay.
And there's Gustav, who is like the leader of like the knights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the scene where Zenigata and the police just like get into a fight with all the knights.
Oh, yeah, they just burst in and it's just war. I like this one. It's very easygoing. In case anyone wants to know, the treasure was an old Roman city that was at the bottom of a lake.
And he's like, drat, I can't pick this up and take it with me.
This won't fit in my pocket. Well, I guess it'll have to be shared with everyone. But... yeah, I like this one a fair amount. I think I also kind of just have a slight bias against it because it didn't have the dub cast I liked so much, and it always takes me a little time to like adjust.
I think because I watched Mamo with the different dub, I think I was fine. Like I was fine with listening, and it was also a different dub than that one. So I'm like, this is fine. And this one was the first dubbed because it was released, in Japan and it was released over here. Mm-hmm. And it also had the dub cast because there was a dub for episodes 155 and 56 for part 2 or whatever, and it's the same dub cast.
I know Mamo also had a dub that was done like right when the movie came out. That was done by Toho themselves, but it was like English. I listened to like a second of that, and I was like, oh, the sound quality is really old. So I'll probably watch that in the future. 'Cause I bought the
Hey, Lupin!
Yeah, because I bought the Blu-ray, which comes with all the dubs on it, so I was like, alright.
Yeah, I gotta get the Blu-rays for all these, or whatever I can find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they still steadily release them. Like, they probably release like 4 or 5 of them a year at the rate they're going. So there's only like a handful of ones that are only still on DVD, and then there's still a decent chunk that haven't been brought over here at all, but I think that they're probably gonna... I'm hoping that they start, like, dubbing them all, because they've been producing dubs for a lot of them, so... fingers crossed. The dream is, because they don't have a Blu-ray out for Part 2, so I'm hoping that they maybe, like, redub Part 2, and that'd be cool, because then you can just have all the Part 2 dubbed.
Yeah, that'd be sick. And what was there a dub for Part 3? I can't remember.
No. They already have a Blu-ray out for Part 3, but I'd fucking buy it if they put out a dub one. I don't own that one already though, but I probably will pick it up just because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna own all of Lupin.
Yeah,
as much as they'll release over here. So
okay, Castle Cagliostro. I think you're also gonna give this one a 7. 6. Mm-hmm. Fuck you, Miyazaki, you piece of shit.
Why are you so mean to your son?
Jesus. He's a...
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a nice guy.
Yeah, I just think he's sad and he doesn't know how to raise a child, maybe. Yeah. He knows how to raise a group of children with song and dance and movies. But his own child... I'm disappointed.
Wait 9 months, and then you'll get 2 hours of gratification.
Okay.
Yeah. You would give this one a 7.
I think I'm sitting at 8 now.
Okay.
I was, I had a lot of fun with this one this time around. I think Mamo's a higher 8. I think it's higher on my tier list. Look at my Lupin tier list real quick. Yeah, let's go. Let's look at the tier list real quick. Let's look where we're gonna be at. Series Lupin. I'll just go through my list real quick.
Okay.
So everyone can see. In last place, Princess of the Breeze, Hidden City in the Sky. 16th, Dead or Alive. 15th, Farewell to Nostradamus. 14th, Goodbye Partner. 13th, The Legend of the Gold of Babylon. 12th, Island of Assassins. 11th, no, that's going to change. 10th, or I guess 11th, First Contact. 10th, The Pilot Film. 9th, Castle Cagliostro. 8th, Voyage to Danger. 7th, Prison of the Past. 6th, Tokyo Crisis. 5th, The Fuma Conspiracy. 4th, The Mystery of Mamo. 3rd, Blood Seal of the Eternal Mermaid. 2nd, Dragon of Doom. 1st, Lupin the Third, the First.
Oh. Yeah.
I still have like, there's like 24 I still need to watch. There's like 43 movies or something, or specials.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I say movies and specials because they're all like an hour and a half. I'm like, what the fuck is the difference?
Though some of them are produced for TV.
That's a TV movie. That's a movie.
I know.
Cool. Next week, we're gonna keep it going.
Yeah.
And then next week I'll have the deep dive, and I think we're gonna keep it going then too.
Yeah. And I might keep it going after that, just for a little longer.
No, forever.
I mean, if you want to just steamroll through all the specials,
holy fuck,
I'm not opposed. We'll just do like 3 at a time.
The Year of Lupin.
Yeah.
So we are going to watch Psychokinetic.
Strange
Psychokinetic Strategy
or something like
which
that.
is the first Lupin movie. It's live action from 1974, I think. And then we're going to watch Lupin the Third, the live action movie from 2014. So we're going to watch 2 live action Lupins this week.
Woo!
It's not going to go. More Lupin! More Lupin! More Lupin! More Lupin! Also, I love that picture you drew of us.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull that up. Yeah, I was just like...
London, put it on the screen where the poster is.
Oh, there you
Boom.
go. Bam. Yeah. I was feeling the inspiration. I was like, I kind of want to draw a Lupin, and I was just like, I feel like I could probably just do this real quick. I almost drew...
Joe Zenigata?
No, I mean, that thought had occurred to me, but I was going to draw Pierre as Goemon, and I was going to draw... Joe is Fujiko. But then I was like, I don't know how to make either of those work. So maybe later. But I was definitely going for like the pilot art style. That's kind of shitty and funny looking. Yeah. But yeah.
It's very fun.
Did you see the green jacket variation I did?
No, I didn't.
I was going to do a different variation for my Jigen in that one. But, oh, it must be on... I know it's on Twitter. I edited it when Joe... I was replying to Joe because he did like that holy shit thing. And then I was like... I edited it on my phone, so it must have copied and saved that way. But, let me see. Go to the thread.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Boom.
Yeah. But yeah.
I like how far your hands just go to your feet.
Yeah, I was like, I have to make it look like, I don't know, because Lupin characters are all kind of lanky, but I also wanted to portray how short I am in real life, so I wanted to just make it kind of weird and kind of derp. But yes, gave it a pink background. I was gonna do like the orange shirt with my Jigen, but the colors I used on Jigen initially were too dark, so when I tried to like recolor it, it just basically tried to recolor everything. I was like, yeah, I don't feel like putting in the effort to recolor this right now, so. But yes. Lupin Third.
Lupin Third, we're going to keep it going. It's going to be classic.
Lupin era continues next week.
You know what? Way fucking better than the DC era.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. I mean,
we watch most of the good stuff. We're gonna have to do like
the end of the DC era that was bad because that's when we heard like, let's watch Zack Snyder's Justice League and
well, I mean, like even the most of those Superman movies I did not like very much. No. I like the first one. So the last 2 episodes were full of not bangers.
Yeah, because we watched the Christopher Reeves.
But if the DC era had continued, I would have probably picked the Suicide Squad. I would have picked Suicide Squad and then the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, no, if the DC era had continued, we would have been sailing straight for Shit Valley. Like,
time to watch Green Lantern.
We did watch,
not the live action.
Yeah, we didn't watch the Ryan Reynolds one, thank God, but we could have, we would have, and we still technically can.
The DC
era 2.
How long ago was that? Was that
It was over a year ago.
Jeez, oh yeah, because Zack Snyder's just,
Yeah.
I've been feeling age a lot lately.
I feel that. Oh, we're getting up there.
We're old. So old.
Very, very.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, see you.
We love you.
Next week, same screen time, same Ween channel.
Same cheese. Burger.